Today's topic is the Cuban migration disaster. I think heavily on the great injustice that's being done to the Cuban people, so today's presentation might just flow in the same way that it pops into my mind rather than as a scripted presentation. Neither of the primary parties' fringe members have anything to offer to you or to your families but suffering. Only the morals and the values of some middle road politics will give you the peace of mind that you deserve. I'll try to keep my comments directed at all things that both parties will do that is most out of sync with the trust that we give to them. However, it's a lot easier to pick on the party that currently controls the politics of this nation and the media, as they always go out of their way to seek the power that only we, the people, should have over them. So, let's discuss what the media, what no media from either side is willing to discuss about the Cuban immigration disaster. The things that I discussed today run a wide range from stuff that should be regular old general knowledge and the wisdom that should be factually distributed by the failing morals of the semi-journalistic media. Not all of the required backup to my claims can be shared because much of it is still slithering out of the brains of these little power-grubbing narcissist politicians that control our nation. Based on the deceitful actions of the administration, our elected representatives, and the media, we can anticipate with great confidence that we are on the right track with this discussion. So getting on to the Cuban immigration disaster. The recent story of our nation goes something like this. We, the people of the United States, welcome all peoples to live free as we enjoy our freedom. We travel and we fight all over the world in an attempt to support the oppressed from their tyrannical dictators and to also feed people that are suffering under socialist, extremist governments as well as those in communist nations. We don't just do these things from our desktop. We send troops to teach, to fight, and to die in these remote nations that are halfway around the world. We fight these undeclared wars for years and sometimes for decades, and we typically skip and run, well, not when conventional fighting is over, but when political pressure at home dictates that we leave. In Korea, we finally agreed not to a peace treaty, but to a demarcation line that neither side would broach with a renewed offensive. This was partly because the non-friendly nation of China was furnishing North Korea with arms and intelligence that were then used to do battle with us. Following our departure from the conflict in Korea, we were so mad at those Chinese that we showered them with food and money in the way of reduced or eliminated trade fees to help them to grow bigger and stronger even faster. The same went in Vietnam, partly because the non-friendly nation of China supplied North Vietnam with the arms and intelligence that was used to do battle with us. This time we were again so mad at China that we showered them with food and money in the way of reduced or eliminated trade fees to again help them to grow bigger, stronger, and faster. Let's just say that we keep fighting these undeclared wars because we always support people being victimized. Now, more recent ventures abroad have taken us to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, others. The only recent difference being these countries not only have Chinese support, but they thought they would also throw in a little bit of Russian support just to make it more even. Anyhow, back to Cuba. Now, here's a small island only 90 miles from the Miami coastline of the United States. This small country has a socialist government to include a tyrannical and communist infused dictator for the last, well, about 70 years. The people are oppressed. The people are starving. The people are begging us to intervene. The people are begging us to allow escaped families to migrate to the United States, yet we refuse the Cuban people. We don't seem to empathize with Cuban citizens that resist, as they are routinely jailed, tortured, and some are executed. We pretend that Cuba is invisible. We still refuse them support. In deference to this, no Cuban migration policy, the recently authorized construction of southern border walls by the previous administration has been halted. Now, the people of Mexico and other South American nations are allowed mostly unfettered access to the United States. The majority of the illegal immigrants that cross our southern borders claim economic distress as their reason. Upon crossing, they are only documented by the Border Patrol, and with the exception of known felons, most are released directly into our country. Illegal immigrants, not purposely staying in Texas and other southern border states, are being bused or airlifted to other large and medium-sized cities in the United States, but not to every state. Many others are miraculously selected for busing to other politically even swing states like Arizona, Florida, Iowa, Michigan, North and South Carolina, and Virginia. Yet, the administration doesn't release any statistics on the actual numbers of migrants that have been either bused or transported by air to each of the other states in the continental United States. We know that the migrants are heavily placed in Texas, Arizona, California, and Florida, with 3 of these 4 states being swing states that the liberals would like to control in the future. The only resolution to the busing schedule and the destination that the migrants have been offered will come only when the faltering party can garner enough votes to place representatives in Congress. Only then will we be able to recognize if the illegal immigrants were actually planted where they were delivered, or if there was a clear selection, an even selection of location that they asked to travel. Until that time, we can assume that this is likely the new socialist version of gerrymandering of old. At this time, we do know only that the administration claims busing in flights throughout the continental United States, inferring that no migrants have been taken to Alaska or Hawaii. We have violated our laws on immigration, and we've given this same matter our dedicated support. Even the claim that we will open our borders to South American migrants is in violation of our own laws. Well, my view on this different method of treatment given to Cuban people is that politics, for the sole purpose of political gain, runs rampant in the Democratic Socialist Party. First, we have the South American migrants who flee to the United States and just hope for a better economic future. They're not being jailed or killed. As gleeful immigrants that are allowed unfettered access to our country by a progressive and liberal mob of administrators, they are likely to become Democrats for life, to include their children. Sadly, The unfavored Cubans are told that if they attempt to migrate to the United States, they will be sent back to Cuba, which would then likely result in a minimum of prison time and torture for them, followed by some will be executed. A couple things are immediately recognized about these immigrants. They will likely stay close to the other existing Cuban refugees in Florida, and Florida is a swing election state. If these immigrants were allowed the same access as the Southern American immigrants, they would inhabit space and time to extol the horrors of a tyrannical and socialist government of Cuba. The Cuban people would likely remain to be conservative voters throughout their and their children's lifetime. Florida could likely be lost to Republicans for decades. So just a few quick thoughts to close this discussion. The President of the United States took an oath to serve and protect all citizens of the United States. The Department of Justice, led by the Attorney General, has a job to safeguard the laws of the land, and open border walls are prohibited by existing immigration laws. Old, mostly favored nation treaties associated with friendly nations of the United States, as well as for people from oppressed nations, hasn't been applied in decades. Maybe it's time for the favored nation clause to return. Please continue to be kind to other moderate voices out there, and like, subscribe, and share this short video. Please help the Cuban nation. As always, this is my opinion. Make it yours. Thank you.